everyone, welcome back. Today I'm just going to do a quick technique which I didn't really have time to do in the last video. So we're back here with our hot glue gun again, and we're going to make our squiggly marks on the paper. I'm not going to make this terribly complex, but you can have fun with that. But I am working quite quickly because what I want to do is put some tissue paper down on that. Okay, now that's one way to do it. It's still hot enough or wet enough, if you like, not set, so the tissue paper should stick for the most part. But having said that, sometimes it doesn't, and another way to do it is obviously to let your glue dry, the hot glue dry like I've done here, and then just glue the tissue paper on top. But the key thing is once you've got it like that, we're going to go in with a spray, and we're just going to spray this down. Now you may or may not be able to see, I should have cut this to the size of the card actually. You may or may not be able to see that what we're actually getting is the tissue paper sort of melting away a little bit there, but we're still left with our design. Now you may ask, you say, well, what are you doing this for? What is the point of this? The point of this was that if we go back and look at some of the ones from the last video, is that you have, with the glue resist, you're left with, trying to find a good example of that actually, this one, you're left with the raised area which is clear. I've coloured this one in with a Sharpie, but it's a bit of faff to have to colour this in. If you're trying to adhere anything to it, like perhaps perfect pearls, you've got to put something to make it stick. It's a little bit more time consuming. If you do it this way, the idea is that the tissue paper will, again, I should have cut this to size. Okay, we'll leave it. Nothing's ever perfect in this place, I can tell you that. You see it, warts and all. When things go wrong, you see that things go wrong. So I'm just going to wipe up that, because I've made we have got basically a lake on this board. Okay, so it's going to be a bit difficult to show you, but actually the tissue paper sort of melted into the spaces between the glue and created a sort of a raised effect. The way that you win with this, or the benefit of doing it this way, is you can then apply your colour on top. And of course, because the tissue paper is sitting on top of the glue, then you will get that solid colour on top. Okay, so I'm going to let that one dry and show you a couple. This one here, now it's there, you can see it's subtle. I can feel it, that there is a texture there. And I'm feeling the glue squiggles underneath, and I've been able to apply my distress stains over the top, the sprays, and so what I've got there is I've got more of an even colour. We've not had to worry about filling in the glue here and colouring it in different ways, but it is a more subtle effect. I've got another one here. This was done with blue. This is actually a bit more difficult to see because I lift the tissue there, you can see what's going on. And actually it's interesting, it does go through to the underneath, so if you want, you can actually tear that off if it's not adhered to tightly, she says. And potentially you've got two pieces there that you can use, this bottom piece and this top piece, which is quite interesting. And I've gone over a few of the lines with Posca pen as well, just to sort of highlight a few of the lines here. I could have done a bit more, but that wasn't the intention of that one. Okay, what else I've got to show you? This one. So this one was an old book page, and I just did splodges on this one, and then I covered, obviously got the sprays on again, but I decided to put some wax, some gold wax on the pieces that were raised. I mean, you can still see the print through it, which is that's pretty cool. I won't be using it like this, I'll be tearing it into pieces. So, right, another one, this is a pinky one I've had to redo. I'm just going to show you, because I put it down with something else, it picked up some of the dark colours as well, so it kind of almost ruined it. So I'll probably use this in sections, this one. Okay, what else have I got? There's one on a black with gold on top. I just wiped over a gold ink pad. Not terribly fussed with that one, to be honest, but I like to show you all of the examples that I have. Okay, so here are examples, again, just to look at, and this is quite a nice technique, putting a tissue paper on top of your background card, and then being able to apply your colour over the top. This gets around some of the problems that you might have when you have just the glue sitting there, and you've got to find ways to colour it, whether it be with perfect pearls, with Sharpies, maybe alcohol inks, whatever that you might be using. But just to say that if you've got a background and you don't want to do this, you don't want to do this sort of faff here, because it's quite a sort of a longer technique and also quite subtle in the effect that you get. You can, of course, just take your glue as it was, apply a layer of gesso, and you can try and be very careful. It's quite a simple design. You can apply it just to the glue itself, otherwise to the whole piece. And then you can use your sprays. I've used distress sprays here, distress oxide sprays actually, and then it will obviously adhere to the glue a little bit better than the previous ones we saw. So that's just another technique that probably should have mentioned that in the video before this one, but you know, when the ideas pop up to me, I just add them in. So hopefully, and I actually love this technique. Actually, I actually think this is probably the way I'd go for most of what I'm doing. What I'm doing is actually just to, be patient, wait for it to dry, put the gesso on, and then you can colour with whatever you like on top. And gesso, obviously you're familiar with it, but if you're not, it's just white acrylic gesso is all I used here, just a very simple, cheap brand. And it just creates that sort of rough texture over the top that allows you to apply any other colours or any other things over the top that you want. It stops that being a shiny surface. So it's used in so many different ways, and I've spoken about it before. But if you haven't got a pot and you want to get into this sort of stuff, then definitely get a pot. Okay, enough rambling. Bye for now.